Am I on?
You're
We're
on.
good?
We're on.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. It's our first official podcast at New Day. So welcome to New Day Frontline Podcast.
Ooh, I like the name.
Yeah,
I like
the name's pretty awesome.
That is
I'd
pretty
like to
awesome.
start off by saying thank you to our producers. Thank you to Matt and Daniel for getting this stuff
Yes,
set up
thank
for
you,
us.
guys.
And Jeff,
Yes.
welcome.
Hey.
Thank you for being
thank
a
you.
co-host with me. This is going to be fun. We're going to have a good time.
Yes, it is.
We're going to get into some church stuff here in a little bit, but first, we need to start off with something extremely important. We need to talk
ready.
about your underwear.
Nice.
Yeah, the very first thing that we're going to talk about on our church
Okay.
podcast is underwear.
I'm glad that this is
But we're going to
important.
get to that in a minute
Yeah.
because we're going to have a word of prayer first.
Okay.
As we get started. Heavenly Father, we love you. We thank you, Lord. We just pray that you would be with us tonight, be with each group that is meeting, be with those who can't be here. Father, I pray that this podcast would be able to help answer questions, and also for those who are not able to attend on Wednesday night, help them feel connected. We love you, Father, and we thank you. Amen. So, Jeff,
All
let's
right.
talk about
go.
your underwear.
Okay, let's go. Now, listen, I've been a cheap man my whole life, and I bought cheap underwear. But I've been told recently that Under Armour underwear will change my life, and so I bought.
It's
some
a true
today.
statement.
I bought one pair.
You bought a pair of Under Armour
Yes.
underwear.
Yes, correct. But that's not the most amazing thing because you told me that you did what today?
I bought Under Armour underwear today. So we feel like we need to talk about this just due to the simple fact that
And it's bugging Daniel and Matt that we're actually talking about this. So
I just want to say though we feel like we need to share this because it was too much of a coincidence.
yeah, it is.
That it happened on the day that we were starting our podcast. So the question is, how much did you pay for your underwear?
Well, apparently I did not get a good deal because I paid $20 for one pair of underwear. And I did not know that Walmart carries Under Armour underwear, which you apparently bought there and got for how much?
3 pair for $36.
Jeez.
So I feel like I got a better deal.
You did.
I win the underwear award.
But
we
I
need
actually-
to make T-shirts
Mine are more special because I got them actually
or
at Under
underwear
Armour. Or underwear.
or we
New Day underwear.
new day underwear.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So now that we've gotten that out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and as we go through this podcast, we're going to be talking about upcoming events and all kinds of fun things that are going to be taking place at the church. But this is going to be informational, but also at the same time, the purpose behind this is to help people who can't attend on a Wednesday night connect in a different way. Maybe they'll be able to listen between now and Sunday. And even those who are here on Wednesday night, if you're going to be listening in later this week, we want to welcome you as well. So let's talk about some announcements that are going to be coming up. It's never a bad thing whenever we have church to talk about announcements that are coming up in the church. So January 7th, Hype is going to be having a junior high lunch, which I guess means that nobody older than junior high can do this lunch.
Up through 8th grade. So
Up through 8th grade.
I think it was
yeah. And that's on Sunday,
Yep.
January 7th at 12 p.m. And so that'll be immediately
Right after
following the
church.
church service. That is
This Sunday.
this coming Sunday.
Yep.
So middle schoolers, parents of middle schoolers, I'm looking on here, David Foley, Dave and Jen Lewis, Maya Stacy, and it looks like Adina Martin has said that they are going to be going. And
My kids will be
Adina's
going.
interested, and your kids will
Yep.
be going to that
Yep.
as well.
Yep.
Awesome. So that should be a great event. We also need to be in prayer for Pastor Jared.
Yes.
He has the flu. Some of you saw our post on Facebook today of him sleeping on his couch. He wasn't just being a lazy bum. He is El Sicko.
which would be forgivable if you thought that because that would normally be how he would.
Well, because that's what we usually
good.
call a Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's just that he happened to be sick on the day that I
On the
took
day.
the picture
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
sent it.
That's normally how he looks.
Yeah.
So
anyway.
But yeah, we'll be praying for him, especially with all these kids running around here.
Yeah, and hopefully his family doesn't get sick. Are they here tonight? I didn't get to see them.
I did not see them.
Okay,
yet
so they're
tonight,
probably at home taking care of Daddy. And Sandra calls Jared Daddy. January 19th is the Hype Youth Lock-In. And I can't believe I'm saying this, and
Yeah.
because Jared is not a lock-in kind of guy, but this is how much he loves your teenagers. So
that he's actually doing the sleep. It's called the sleepless sleepover.
the sleepless
That's what it says.
sleepover.
Sleepless sleepover.
I know we're not allowed to gamble in church, but I got $10 that says Jared will be sleeping that night.
I have that too.
I mean, he can't even make it through a
he
work
can't
day
even make
without
it through a
sleeping
Wednesday
on his
work day,
couch.
and he falls asleep on the
Yeah.
couch with the door wide open.
With the door wide open. He
So
can't even.
I agree. I'll go $15 on that. So
And it looks like, so that'll be January 19th. It starts at 6 p.m., so have your kids here at 6 p.m.
And then pick them up.
And it goes until January the 20th, and it ends at 8 a.m. So if you could make sure you are here at 8 a.m.
You have to pick them up.
As a former youth pastor, it would be very nice if you would let Pastor Jared go home by 8 a.m.
Yes.
on Saturday morning the 20th. Cost is $8 for that event. Jeff, you got another event on there for us?
Yeah, one of my favorites. We have Tim Hawkins' comedy night on January 26th.
Sweet.
That is, I think that's a Friday. People are going to be leaving. I don't know if we're going to leave here from the church or not. I can't see that on there. But anyway, I'm trying to remember who all.
$25
yeah.
per person.
$25 per person.
$23 for groups of 10 or more. So if we get 10 or more people.
You can see
it'll be-
Elise Morris for more details on that. I think
if you
she's
have any
getting that
questions
together.
for that, Elise
He is a
Morris.
funny guy. Have you ever watched his stuff?
Oh man, he's hysterical.
Every Christmas, when my wife's family comes in town, we watch one of his episodes, and they are hilarious.
His songs are absolutely hysterical. So if you've never seen Tim Hawkins, now
I'm not
did you
a-
say
I'm
did
not
you
a song guy.
did you say we're
It's at Crossroads, I think.
money
Crossroads
needs
Church.
to be in before December 13th?
Well, that was a
That's
while
on
back.
here.
I think they're still doing stuff. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
They're still talking about. I think we're trying to get a group together.
We're just trying to
go.
get a group together to go. Okay.
So
Well, perfect. And we don't know if we're meeting there or
no, I can't see any of that right now.
is it at Crossings?
It is at
Is-
Crossroads. Wait, Crossroads. I don't know. It says Crossroads Church. You know what? We need to figure that out.
Yeah, we need to figure that out.
Figure that out.
Let's ask Brenda. She knows everything.
Brenda knows everything.
Just in case you guys were wondering, Brenda is the actual person who is in charge of the church.
Yep.
She knows everything that goes on. So when you guys ask me questions and I don't have the answers to them, you know who I go to? I go to Brenda.
Hey,
So-
the only time anything doesn't go right in our church is when we did something without her permission.
It's true. And the only time things don't go
It's
right is
absolutely-
when I
absolutely
decide
true.
to do something without Brenda's permission.
Yep. And without checking with her first.
And without checking with her.
Yeah.
So Brenda is in charge.
Absolutely.
So you can check with Elise Morris. Don't come into me and ask questions, and because
No.
if I don't know the answer, I'm just going to Brenda. And Brenda
Or
will know.
you just make stuff up and tell people.
That's true.
And then you don't even know if it's true.
For instance, it wasn't even on the announcement. I just said Crossings because I'm just guessing.
You see, and you made me doubt myself, and I was reading it off of a deal off the announcements.
See?
You made me doubt myself.
This is why I shouldn't be in charge of
This
anything.
is why I don't know why
The
we
fact
put you
that
in
you
charge
guys are
of
having
everything.
me do this podcast is
I
absolutely
agree.
ridiculous.
This is ridiculous. Oh, hey, we do have coming up February 4th. We do have the Hype Youth and College, and it's not just going to be youth and college, but they are going to have a Super Bowl party together. So,
okay,
but I think
awesome.
most of Sunday school, if you're in a Sunday school class, if you're not in a Sunday school class, you need to be in a Sunday school class for this reason alone.
Yes.
The Super Bowl parties are off the hook.
Yeah, they're pretty legit here. And actually, it seems like last year I made the rounds to all the Super Bowl parties. I went and stayed at least each of them for about 15 or 30 minutes. And by the time I made it through all of them, the game was over.
Yeah.
I think I stopped at your house last.
You did.
And it seems like at each one there was probably more than 30 people at each one.
There were.
And some very delicious food. So
Now, I do have to say, 2 years ago, my Sunday school party, if you guys want to join us, we actually had the cops called on us.
yeah, that was fun.
So
at
now-
Dave and Jen's house. That was a good time.
Dave and Jen's house, which I think the cops are normally used to visiting Dave and Jen's house.
But
But the cop came in though, and he actually took home a plate of food, and he was
he
so.
was, and we're not allowed to say his name.
We're not allowed to discuss anymore after that.
Yeah.
It's a restraining order on it. So true story though, not the restraining
Something
order.
else that's coming up on Sunday, January 14th, we are having a membership Sunday.
Oh,
So if you are interested in becoming a member of the church, you can come see me, and I'll talk to Brenda, as we discussed earlier.
nice.
And we will make sure that you are set up to be a member of New Day. And we'll be recognizing that on Sunday, January the 14th, during the church service. And then the very next Sunday I talked to Dr. Rowland today, and he will be with us on that Sunday on December 21st. He'll be meeting with the church board during the Sunday school hour to do my pastoral review, and then he will be bringing the message on that Sunday morning and letting the church know how that review went. So if we could get everybody to come out and say hi to Dr. Rowland and you're whispering to me.
What Sunday? Sorry.
What Sunday? Sunday, January 21st. So it's the Sunday after the membership Sunday, which is on the 14th.
Nice.
I need you to pay attention when I'm talking.
Sorry.
I don't need you to zone out over there.
I can't even pay attention.
I'm doing good just to get the information
I was thinking
done
about the
right
$20
time.
I paid for a pair of underwear, and you got such a better deal than me. I'm having a hard time concentrating.
I'm still okay with you paying $20 for underwear. Maybe you got like a different fabric than I did.
I don't know. So, all right. So that was our upcoming events, right?
Upcoming events, yeah.
We got a lot
church
going
board.
on.
We have a board meeting on the 14th as well, after at 2:00 in the boardroom. So, anywho, I think that's all of our upcoming events.
Nice.
How are we feeling about that?
I think we got a lot going on for a church.
Let's talk a little bit about this past Sunday. And the conversations that we were having in the church service about the building program and all that good stuff.
What if I told you I didn't pay attention then either? I did actually, but I'm just.
Well, how do you feel about all that? I mean, you serve on the church board. How do you feel about the way the progress has been going? And
I think that, especially being on the church board and being a part of some of the discussions, I'm very excited for everyone else in the church to hear the different things. And so I loved this last Sunday that they got to start hearing some of the stuff we're looking at for our building. Because when you actually get to hear about the building and see what we've got going on so far, it may not seem like much, but it's exciting. And we're finally getting to where we can get the ball rolling.
Yeah. Well, and there's actually a blueprint committee meeting tonight following Wednesday night stuff here to try to finalize some decisions that the church board will need to make on the 14th of January.
Nice.
Were you listening to that earlier?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, actually, yeah,
Yes.
I was actually.
Yes. You know, as we've gone through the process, Bill Hain has done a wonderful job keeping that committee together and on task. And it's been a slower process than I think that we thought it would be.
It's very involved.
But there's a lot to it, and that group of people, the Blueprint Committee and the church board, both of those groups want to make what they feel is the best decision for the church, and not only get the building that we feel like we need currently, and also doing that within our means and not strapping us financially to where we can't do ministry in that new facility.
Hey, Chase, if you don't mind, as a pastor, speaking as our pastor, can you tell us, I mean, I know you've answered questions for us and all these things. So, and if somebody wasn't here last Sunday or anything, can you go tell us how you feel about this? I mean, what are your thoughts as we're going into this? Because it's a different position you're coming from as a pastor. And, you know, we've got a lot of great people working on it, but what are your feelings on this?
Oh, I have a lot of feelings on it. You know, I would love to do the big 30,000 square foot building and that has all the bells and whistles and all the fun things that would come with that. And if that's God's will, the financing will open up for that. Honestly, though, where I'm at right now, I feel like it's just, as the pastor here, I feel like it's more important for us to be there and not, you know, the idea is to build a building to where we don't have debt.
Yeah.
It would not make sense to have a 30,000 square foot building if the church couldn't afford staff to run that building, manage that building throughout the week.
Right.
So in essence, you would have a 30,000 square foot building that would sit empty except on Sunday.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah. So, you know, trying to scale that down a little bit and build something that we can grow into, and then make that a 30,000 square foot building at some point in time. Because part of the process right now is not necessarily just looking at phase one. What Bill will be talking to the Blueprint Committee about tonight is an overall plan for the next 10 years. I mean, it's not they're going to be putting together something that the church will see phase one, phase two, phase three, phase four, phase five. to get us to that
Right.
main thing.
I think that's important, though. I think that's important
Right.
to notice because when we're talking a smaller building out there, I think sometimes we can immediately, as on Sunday, I think a concern for some people was,
Sure.
oh, great, we're only building this.
Sure.
No, this is just, I think the overall vision that the church board has, that you've helped lead us towards and stuff, and I think we all feel the leading with the Spirit that we need to be out there.
Right.
The most important thing is to be out there
That's
first.
right. That's right.
And so we're not talking just a little building at first. We're just
Sure.
starting this process.
Well, and the idea too, the little building thing is, I brought that up just to share with people where we are financially as a
Right.
church.
Correct.
Basically, and I'm a transparent kind of person, so
Yeah.
I'll be just as transparent here as I was on Sunday. Basically, we pay $3,000 a month to be in the building that we're in currently, which means that there's $36,000 a year being spent on rent. Well, if you take those numbers, that basically puts us in. If we were going to take that and move it out to Northwest Expressway, that would put us in a $500,000 building.
Right.
And so basically, the way we are operating currently, we're operating within a $3,000 a month payment.
Right.
Now, that being said, as we put blueprints out and as we start a building campaign and as we go through this process, who's to say that our church doesn't give an additional $500,000 above and beyond what we usually do?
Right.
Because then at that point, you're not talking about a 5,000 square foot building anymore. You're talking about a building this size that we're in
Right.
currently. So that's not beyond the stretch and the imagination.
Right.
But as we enter a process like this, you have to have a budget. And when architects, for the first several meetings, architects were looking at us, asking us what our budget was, nobody really knew how to answer that question. But the answer to that question is simple. Our budget is what it is. It's right here in front of us. Our budget's $3,000 a month. So you're talking about a 500,000 square foot building. Or you're talking about $500,000 budget, you're talking about a 5,000 square foot building. But once you put a building campaign and you have faithful people putting feet to that, you could be looking at a 10,000 square foot building pretty quickly, and maybe even bigger depending on how much money comes in.
And I think that's good, smart stewardship that you guys started here, because you're right. When we first started it, we had the finance committee meeting, and then we had the blueprint committee meeting, and the blueprints going, hey, how much money do we have? And the finance is going, I don't know.
Yeah.
But you're right. To be good stewards of what we have, we are spending $3,000 a month on our building, which does equate to a $500,000.
Well, and
building.
to back up a second, I think when we had the finance committee meeting, and they were asking the blueprint committee, or the blueprint committee was asking the finance team, how much money do we have? I think what they were really trying to ask was, look into your crystal ball and tell us how much money we're going to have.
Right.
But the real question is how much money do we have? Well, we have $3,000 a month.
Right.
That's the answer to that question. Now, how much money are we going to have? There's no way to know the answer to that question until we get into a building campaign.
Right.
And again, we do a lot of things different at New Day. We'll be doing that building campaign differently than what we'll be doing that different as well.
Sure.
I'm not a huge fan of pledge cards, just due to the simple fact that anybody can write on a pledge card that they're going to give something, and then that we can't count that as income. I mean, because it's not income. And
People will need to sign over their firstborn.
Yeah,
that's what we're going to do.
That's right.
And we'll hold it.
I'm giving up Hudson.
Yes. Sorry, Nikki, you're off.
Yeah. So we're the building program. Once all that stuff starts rolling out, where we're starting at, we're looking at starting at where we are.
Right.
We're starting at a place where we know the answers to the questions. And so we know what the answer to one question is what is our budget? Well, our budget's $3,000 a month. So we know the answer to that question. Now, if we get 6 months down the road and we have, 15, 20 new members who are giving, and that budget changes, then, the building changes. The building changes as the budget does. So this isn't going to be one of those things, because again, one of the main things that we feel like God has let us do is not only to be out there, but to try to be out there debt free.
Right.
And that's going to be a challenge, and that might take us being a little bit flexible. But the primary position of this church needs to be ministry.
Right.
And we can't have ministry if we're bottled up with debt that we
Right.
can't afford. I mean, that's just that. I mean, people
Right.
love having Pastor Cheryl and Pastor Jared,
Yep.
and they love having Dana as our worship leader, and they love having Brenda in the office,
Yep.
and all of that stuff costs money, and so if we're saddled up with debt out our ears because we want this super nice building, that means that some of this other stuff that we really enjoy having, we can't afford.
Right.
So,
and I think this approach also lends a lot towards the faith aspect, like the widow who had her son with her, and when was it Elijah came and had the flour, just had enough flour and oil to make one loaf of bread. And they were getting ready to make that, but she took the step of faith to keep doing it. And day by day, there was enough to do more and more. And I think that's a step we're taking with this building, where it's like, here's what we have. We have enough to do this right here. So we take the step. Well, there's more. There's enough to do more and more. So we're going to take these steps of faith and rely on God to get us where He wants us to be. Not where we want to be, but where He wants us to be.
Right.
So,
hey, we have a new. We talked about the membership Sunday that's coming up on January 14th. I'm really excited about that Sunday because we have a lot of new members coming in.
Nice.
And a lot of those new members have gone through what we have is our Kickstart class.
I love that class.
Helps new members kind of get involved at New Day and lets them know our history and where we came from and our ministries that we currently have and ministries that we're looking forward to having in the future.
It's a great class.
And so if you're out there and you've just started coming to New Day, I can think of a couple of people off the top of my head. If you'd like to be a part of a Kickstart class, we'd love to see you there. And then we'd also love to receive you as members at some point in time. You were talking to me before we got going here tonight about a church app, an idea of a church app.
Yeah.
My mom is calling me. Full disclosure, my mom calls me every Wednesday night at about 10 after 7, as if I'm in a different spot every Wednesday night at 10 after 7. I will inevitably call her back and say, hey, she goes, what are you doing? And I'll say, I'm at church. What are you?
I love your mom.
What are you doing? Why are you calling me again on a Wednesday? Talk to us about that. Talk to us about that church app.
All right. This is just something that's been on my mind and heart recently. And, I know it's not a necessity for our church, but there's been different things that we've got going. And again, I'm going to give props to Matt and to Daniel. That, we started, I came into you a while back and talked to you about Facebook Live doing this. And then I had talk to these guys, and these guys take it by the horns and make it into something amazing. So little things like that. Well, it's kind of been on my mind recently to do a church app, something that we can take and, I know we can send text to people in the church or try and put it on Facebook, but not everybody checks their Facebook page, all the time. Well, some people do, not everybody. But, if we had an app that people can go put their name in, we can push notifications to them through it. We could put events, maybe links to the live feed or the recorded feed later on, podcast link. We can do stuff like that. Maybe even do like a prayer wall. People can post prayers out there.
Cool.
Different things like that, contact list, a weekly devotional or something. But, I'm always sermon notes, but I'm always interested, those are things that I'd like to try and look at doing. And I was talking to you about that.
I like doing things different. I don't, it's kind of like the Facebook Live thing. When the Facebook Live thing happened, that's kids upstairs. That's church life is what that is. That's the noise of church life. When you came to me with Facebook Live, I loved the idea of doing that, and I actually love what that has progressed to. This sounds a lot like the same thing. It's one of those things where if we get it going, we're gonna, add to that over time. And I love the idea of doing something like that.
Can I say something though about if you have been coming to our church and you have been thinking about joining our church? First of all, I want to encourage you to do that majorly. Okay.
Yeah.
I just want you to know something. If God puts something on your heart, this is not like some churches I've seen. People will go and they'll tell the pastor, you know what we should be doing? We should be doing this, this, this. And they're like, okay, well, and then the pastor's left to try and figure out how to do this. If you bring an idea to Chase, let me just give you an example of this Facebook Live. I've been looking at things, I've been researching it, and I thought this is a great idea. And so I came to Chase and I was ready for, him to say, because I knew how he operated, that, okay, yeah, let's look into this, do this, whatever. Well, I went to him and said, hey, I think we should be doing this. Here's the stuff, blah, blah, blah. And that was a Wednesday. We were doing a prayer service, and Chase goes, start it tonight. I'm like, whoa, wait. Tonight, we don't have anything. I just have my phone. Stream it through your phone. Go. And so that night, we started right then, and we actually had a huge response. People in other states, people from the church here contacted their family members to pull it up and start watching. We had people whose lives were changed that night because they watched our prayer service on there. So if you're going to join our church, just know, if God puts something on your heart, you better know it's from God, because Chase will tell you to run with it.
Well, and you don't ever want to miss an opportunity to change someone's life just because our church hasn't always done it that way.
Right.
This podcast was similar. When Daniel approached us about doing this,
Thanks a lot,
it was a
Daniel.
Similar kind of thing. It was just, what was it, about 3 weeks ago that we were sitting in here, and I said, well, let's just do it the first Wednesday of the year. Let's just get the year started off right. We'll do it the first Wednesday of the year. There's no time like the present. And actually, I would have said let's do it in December, except those next 2 Wednesday nights we were off, and so we weren't going to be here.
Right.
So. Yeah. So, there's to me, if God has laid something on your heart, there's no time like the present. So whenever things like this church app thing comes up, when the online giving thing came up, when Facebook Live came up, when this deal has come up, pretty much every ministry that has started in this church, with the men and women's group, pretty much everything from all the Sunday school classes to everything that takes place on Sundays. There's a lot of moving parts. We're a church that's only 3 years old, but there's a lot of moving parts that makes this thing go. And the only way it goes, though, is by people who are willing to answer God's call. And I'm not going to be the one that stands in the way of that. So,
and that's another thing, too, I love about the leadership here that I see a lot. And this is coming from someone on the outside, that they don't have to handle it all themselves. Like, they don't have to be the one up front doing this. If, like, these guys, Matt and Daniel, have this extreme technical talent, far beyond what I could ever do anything. So hand it over to them, let them go to town with it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, yeah. And
within money reasons, guys.
Yeah. Well, when we're doing things like this, I don't mind. I love doing things like this. But it's like I told you guys, I said, if you guys do the legwork of getting things put together, we'll make this happen. I think this is a great thing. I think the church is like layers. This just adds another layer to who we are and what we're doing.
Church is like an onion.
Church is like an onion. I said layers. I didn't use onion. I wasn't going to go.
Stinky and makes you cry.
I wasn't going to go all Shrek on you. So something else, the next hot topic is something that is starting this coming Sunday. I will be starting in on a new sermon series called Real Faith. And this week is part 1. And the sermon series, the sermon title for this Sunday is Opportunities of Great Joy. And what we're going to be doing between now and Ash Wednesday, so the Sunday before Ash Wednesday, so over the next 6 weeks, we're going to be studying out of the book of James. And our Sunday school classes, I've been writing Sunday school curriculum, and our Sunday school teachers have week 1 in their hands currently, and they hopefully are preparing to teach their Sunday school classes. You're preparing to teach your Sunday school class this Sunday,
I'm
right?
preparing, which starts later than everybody else's.
Your class does start later.
Yes.
Your preparation starts later, or your class starts later?
Yes.
So this week we'll be in James chapter 1, and we'll be taking a look at the book of James. And so all the Sunday school classes from kids, Pastor Cheryl has the same stuff, and she's tweaking that a little bit for the kids, but from kids all the way up to our adult Sunday school classes, we are going to be going through the book of James. And then on Ash Wednesday, or the Sunday after Ash Wednesday, we will all be from, so that'll be February. Ash Wednesday's in February. So from February, the middle of February, all the way until June, we will be going through Ashes to Fire together as a church.
That's awesome.
So from children's department all the way up to all the adult Sunday school classes, we will all be doing the same curriculum, and we will be hearing the same message on Sunday mornings that we'll be talking about in our Sunday school classes. So
far, and I think we've had a really good response from our Sunday school class with doing these questions and then being able to go in and hear more on the topic in
Sure.
the actual service.
Yeah,
So,
and I like the depth that provides. You know, there's it's interesting when each Sunday school class was kind of doing their own thing. It was interesting to see how God spoke to people.
Sure.
With because there would be days where I would preach about something, and it would be something that you talked about in your Sunday school class, and it'd be something that Bill talked about in his Sunday school class, and both of your classes weren't even talking about the same topic.
Right.
So it was interesting to see how God did that. I'm going to be very interested to see how God works all that out with all of our classes talking about the same topic. I think that's going to bring a lot more depth to what they're going to be hearing in worship and during the service on Sunday mornings.
Even between the Sunday school classes, even having the same topic, the same Sunday school material. The last few months we've had this, a couple months that we've done something similar to this. It's funny. Some of us Sunday school teachers have talked, and the discussions are even different among the Sunday school classes due to where we're at in life. Whether we're older, middle, or younger. Couples or singles, whatever it is, it's different. The viewpoints are different, which is always interesting to see too. So So if you're not in Sunday school, you need to be in Sunday school, please.
Yes. And if you don't get involved in Sunday school, if you just can't get up that early, come on Wednesday nights. Wednesday night activities are awesome. I know that the men's group is going really, really well. The women's group is going really, really well.
Men's group is going through Wild at Heart right now. I'm not sure what the women's group is going through.
I'm not sure either. I'll check with Nikki, and we'll have that for our next podcast.
But I do have to tell you, the kids group, too, my kids, teen group and the kids group, my kids had an option because tomorrow's back to school day.
Yeah.
And we actually gave them an option, said this last full day, do you guys want to go do something tonight? Or, church does start back and blah, blah, blah. There was no even hesitation.
They're going to church.
They're going to church. So, your kids are going to love it. If you're worried about your kids, don't. So.
Well, all right, well, let's wrap up. I'd like to say thanks again to our producers. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Daniel, for getting this going and getting it kicked off. Right now, we have this set up to go once a month. And, again, we'll add to this if we need to. We'll be flexible. And we thank you guys for listening. Hope you have a blessed week. And we're praying for you, and we love you.
Love y'all.
Peace out.
Bye.